Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, this is a heavy subject before I get started. This is one that is hard for women to talk about because sometimes we don't know how to explain it. We just know how it feels. But then when we try to explain it, people undermine it. They add their thoughts, their opinions, even try to diagnose us, but then don't want us to be diagnosed. What could this be? Ooh. I'm about to talk about baby blues, postnatal, and the difference, the similarities, and my journey along the way of it. So, quick cap. When I first got pregnant at 15, I had my daughter at 16. I later on discovered that I was suffering from postnatal, ashamed, burdened, lonely, disgusted, ashamed. So I had no one to talk to. No one. I didn't even trust the doctors. I just had to live through it, breathe through it, and be so isolated. Fast forward to my sixth child. I got baby blues. So they say. Baby blues? They don't last long like postnatal, but you feel similar. Okay. I'll tell you what, I don't know what one was fucking worse. I do not have the slightest idea because I'll tell you what, these baby blues that don't last long felt a million freaking times worse than feeling postnatal, being isolated, being ashamed, and not feeling like I could tell anyone. Oh, that was heavy. That was really heavy, actually. But true. I remember when I sort of started knowing something was wrong when I had my first child. We were going to the mall and we were using public transport, and I had my daughter in a pram. I begged my sister, and I even paid her $10 to push my daughter in the pram, and she was a proud auntie. She loved it. So I knew she didn't mind, but I minded. I didn't want to be seen as the mom. I didn't want to be heard as the mom. I didn't want to be known as the mom. And I remember as we were getting off the pram, I froze. Oh, the train. I froze. And no one was pushing my daughter off. And I was like, and I asked my sister to push her off. But just before that, my cousin said to me, "Are you not pushing your daughter off the train?" Oh boy, I froze. I froze, I crumbled, I shaked, I felt violated on the inside. I was like, how do you tell the world? How do you tell the world is listening, that I'm her mom? Yeah, how strange. But I could sit there and I could happily breastfeed. I could go to sleep with her at night. I loved her so, 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 so much. But that didn't matter. That did not matter. And wondering about it now, was it to do with age? Is it a mental health? Is it something you feel when something goes wrong? What is it? Where does it come from? Because as much as there's studies on it, each experience is to its own, for its own. And that's something only the person can explain. You can have similarities, but that don't mean it's the fucking same. And I battled it for so, so, so long. And I remember I joined this young mums group. It was a lifesaver, actually. And I met some beautiful other young mums in the same position. And for good and bad and bad and good, I started to feel a bit normal, a bit loved. And I learned the tools of motherhood, not from them, but just because I was in a situation where vulnerability was okay. It was just simply okay to feel loved and appreciated. But that's not it. That's not all of it. That's actually really just some self outer thoughts that I had about my insides. And then one day, it just disappeared. Just disappeared from my mind. And it wasn't till years later and I started reflecting back. Wow. But guess what happened in those years? That it just disappeared. Started smoking weed. I started drinking alcohol. To the point that I was mixing alcohol with anything. Drinking it in my coffee cup. Just to hide that I was drinking. Keep in mind that I was still underage and couldn't buy my own alcohol. And I mean, weed was easier to come across. Everyone was smoking it. So what did I do? I buried those. I buried those feelings and thoughts. But in a cool way. You know, it was cool. But it had its effect. Its damn effects. I don't look back with regret. I actually look back as in, shit, you had a lot going on. And I'm proud of myself. I wouldn't undo proud myself, if that's such a word. But fast forward to these baby blues. They came at least a day after he was born. And it wasn't even because of him or because of me they came. Well, actually, yeah, they were. But my son had an assembly at school and I couldn't make it. And all the day before, I battled the thought of, I should go, 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 I should go. And then when I didn't, the pressure, the burden that I put on myself, I didn't feel okay with it. I thought that I had to be everywhere at once. I had to be at that school after just popping out a baby, taking my baby, and being at that school. Or to say I'm a good mum. Or to say I support you. Or to say I want to be there for you. And then it started. I just started crying. I cried for a whole day. And I mean, crying's normal. It's not really my normal way of expressing things. I tend to know when I cry, it's severely something that I feel like very traumatized towards. Yeah, and I cried. And I cried. And I cried. And you would think after the cry it just gets easier, just gets better. It didn't. It just slowly went down. So far down that everything hit at once. Everything hit at once. And yet again, I didn't want to tell people. But this time, I'm older. I'm older. I am 29 versus 16. So I started telling people. And I don't know if this is where it got more fucked up or more hurtful, or I felt more isolated than when I was 16. People would ask me, how are you? I say, oh, I'm not okay. Oh, blah, 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 and start talking about themselves. But as good as I am, I'm like, okay. And I'll let them talk about themselves. Knowing in the deep back of my mind, I'm just like, wow, you really weren't asking me about my day. You were just giving yourself a platform to talk about your day. And the hole got deeper. COVID hit at that time too. Locked out of places. Damn, I wasn't even allowed to go to my counseling's office. And then my love asked me what was wrong. But I wouldn't tell him like this. I would tell him angrily. Like, take the kids, give me some space. I'm tired. I need a rest. But all I wanted was to scream out, I don't feel okay. But I keep carrying on, keep going about life. Actually, no one even sensed anything was wrong because I would smile, I would be happy, I'll be helpful, I'll be grateful, I'll be thankful. But I was dying. I was so dying on the inside. I felt trapped. I felt ugly. And you know, out of all of it, I didn't want to get better. Not because I didn't want to see better days, because I couldn't see better. I really couldn't see it. I felt like a whole trap, and there was no way out. And it's sad. It's actually so sad that I actually had no one. And that was at my own cost. That wasn't because of their cost. Because I just learned that, well, when I did speak about it, no one really wanted to hear. No one really wanted to offer solutions. I even mentioned it to a professional that I think I have the baby blues. They pretty much turned around and said, it goes. But we're coming up to, 10 months now, and I'm still feeling the same? 10 months! Everything happened on top of that too. A lot of shit was going on. So it just felt like wham, bam, wham, bam, wham, wham, wham. And no escaping at all. Yeah. The baby blues is a pretty fucked up situation to be in. And I'm just here to talk about it. I'm here to tell you that it's true. It's real. Don't compare yourself to postnatal. I think that was my biggest mistake. Trying to think that, oh, it's not postnatal, so I'm gonna be okay. It should be okay. It's gonna go. And I decided then to put myself through monthly challenges. I decided that I need to work on myself. I need to be consistent. I need to have a focus. I need to have a drive. So there it went. My first month, I dedicated every day to drinking celery juice. That was the first thing I drank every day. I wouldn't consume any food. It didn't matter if it was 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. If I hadn't had my celery juice, I was not consuming everything else. It came down to discipline. And I'll tell you what, discipline saved my life. It saved it so massively that I am now in my 11 months of making my mom's challenges. I'm happier, I'm healthier, and I'm here. And I'm here to show you and to tell you and to advertise to you that you can make yourself better. You don't need those pills. But if you do, that's for you. Don't ever take my advice. But discipline. Discipline to make me accountable. Discipline to keep me focused. Discipline to have me achieving. Discipline to make me feel like I had a purpose. Because when you're feeling postnatal or when you're feeling baby blues, happiness is the furthest on the scale it can be. And you will put that last continuously. Not on purpose either. Let's get this straight. Not on purpose. But it happens. So, I done it. I done it and I'm so fucking happy. I am so fucking happy. I'm sitting here today authentically, probably in my years of life that I was responsible for myself, the most happiest. And Do you know what happens when you become happy? You allow vulnerability. And when you allow vulnerability in your life, your soul is happy. Your soul screams more than your words could ever tell this world. And it's allowing me to be who I want to be for the reasons I want to be. So I'm just going to thank my postnatal steps. And I'm going to thank my baby blue steps. Because they were hard, but they were a part of me. And without them, I wouldn't have found this version of me, because I would have not got off my ass to make these monthly challenges. I would have not got off my ass to do better for myself. I would have not got off my ass to be accountable for my own shit. So thank you for that experience. And I'm very, very, very grateful that I came out on top. Because sadly, a lot of people don't. And they learn to suffer in silence, alone. Because when you tell people, they don't want to hear. Thank you, guys.